Nothing wrong. Check. I don't even care if it's good copyright. Okay, okay. This is a platform level. I must have done show with this music. I'm not playing that anymore. Oh, that was nothing. Anyways, if you close your eyes, you can open them. Close or open, your clothes are open, close open, close open. We're watching Ford&charlie.
Long sleeve shirt that completely covered her whole body, but it was a little baggy around the neck. So when she adjusted it, you could see her shoulder. And the moment the teacher saw that shoulder peeking out, he sent her straight to the office and she came back with a XXL gym shirt on. But what even is the thought process there? Are there really people at school gooning over a girl's shoulder? I mean, I thought toe fetishes were weird, but y'all are taking it to the next level. Meanwhile, dress codes for guys at my school was basically non-existent. I remember during Halloween, one kid literally did not wear a shirt to school and the teacher didn't care. Honestly, my theory is that the dress code is for the teachers, not the students. To the person I just met in the elevator that said they watched my videos, I'm so sorry about what happened. Because I was staying at a hotel and I got in the elevator to go back to my room, but I had Mexican food like an hour before this. So there was an absolute hurricane going off in my stomach and I farted in the elevator. And initially, I was the only one in it, but the hotel I'm staying at is 10 stories and I was on the 8th floor. So I'm just hoping that the elevator doesn't stop before getting to my floor, but then at floor 6, I hear a ding go off and the elevator stops. So I'm like, oh no, they're gonna smell my fart. And a guy walks in and gives me a weird look. So I'm like, yep, he definitely smells it, but no, it was even worse because he goes, are you a YouTuber? And I tell him I am, and he says, no way, I've seen your videos before. Dog, that was the worst thing you could have said right now. Because after he got in the elevator, he started coughing, so he definitely smelled it. But when he did that, I started coughing too to make it seem like I wasn't the one who farted. And when the elevator got to my floor, I ran out of there as quick as possible. You just can't trust those bean burritos, man. Did anyone else ever have a classmate who would only show up to school like once a month? And whenever they showed up, it felt like a special occasion because they were normally never there. I have no idea how these types of people passed their classes though, because there was one kid I sat next to who literally did not show up for 25 days straight. So the day he came back, I was like, bro, where were you? Did you go hike Mount Everest or something? And he says, nah, I just went to see the 7 wonders of the world with my family. Huh? Why'd you just say that like it's normal? Like that's the tone I use when I have to tell someone I clogged the toilet. But I did not like sitting next to him because when he finally got back, we had a group project to do. But 3 days later, he was gone again and he didn't return for 2 weeks. So I had to do the whole project on my own. He just got done seeing the 7 wonders of the world. Where was he going this time? Mars? No, actually, don't even answer that because he probably was. Nobody talks about how scary it is when you're at the grocery store with your mom and she leaves you at the checkout line. Like this used to be my worst nightmare because one time me and my mom were in the checkout line at Walmart and she's looking at her list making sure she got everything she needs and she realized she forgot to get laundry detergent. But the lines were super long and she didn't want to have to wait through it again since we were almost at the front. So she told me to stay in it while she went to get the detergent. But I was freaking out because after a couple minutes it was our turn to check out and my mom wasn't back yet. And I think the worker knew this and was trying to mess with me because he started scanning items like 5 times faster when it was my turn. He finished scanning the items and my mom wasn't back yet. So he asked how I was gonna pay and I almost started crying. But then finally, my mom got back. Do the workers always do this when they see a little kid?
Well-being isn't about big goals. It's about the small, conscious choices we make each day.
bag.
Certified clean, delicious and organic macro bars make it easier than ever to honor your
I
intentions.
totally did not just crash my car.
Imagine more productivity with fewer subscriptions. Google Workspace includes AI in your work apps like Gmail, Drive, and Meet, helping teams streamline collaboration. Do better work faster with Google Workspace.
There's no.
Old people have to stop getting tricked by AI so easily. Because my mom was scrolling through Facebook the other day and she starts laughing hysterically. So I'm like, what's so funny, Mom? Then she tells me that she saw a video of an English bulldog cooking a steak. So I'm like, no way, let me see the video. And she shows it to me, but it's the most obvious AI I've ever seen. Like the dog was literally holding a knife and cutting the steak as if it was a human. So I was like, Mom, that video is not real. But then she was like, how do you know? So I tell her that it's super obvious that the video is AI, but then she says, it looks so real though. Mom, the knife was literally going through the dog's paw. It was not real. So I had to break her heart and tell her that this dog wasn't the next Gordon Ramsay. But this wasn't even nearly as bad as the time where she saw a photo of what Nicolas Cage would look like if he was a dog, and she thought that was real. Now that one was terrifying. I just know that in like 6 months, there's gonna be AI videos of pigs flying and old people are gonna be like, they finally did it. Oh my gosh. Have you ever been taking a test and the kid next to you covers their answers as if you were trying to cheat off them? Like even if it's obvious you're not cheating. Cause I got so frustrated one time when I was in math class and we were taking a really important exam. But every time I would move my head at all, the kid next to me would quickly cover his paper. So the teacher saw this and started to think that I was cheating. So while making direct eye contact with me, she said out loud to the whole class, everybody remember to keep your eyes on your own test. If you are caught cheating, you will get a 0. But this made me so angry because I sat next to this kid the whole year and I definitely did not need to cheat off of him. Like he made Forrest Gump look like a Nobel Prize winner. And when we got our results back from the test, I defied so hard to not laugh at him. The only person he should be hiding his test from after getting that bad of a score is his parents. You know how when a group of pretty girls walk by, you check the weather app to pretend like you're on your phone? Well, I have a friend that used to be super socially awkward and did not know how to talk to women. And no, I'm not talking about myself, okay? Even though that does describe me. But anyways, my friend used to check the weather app so much when he was in this situation. And I just saw him for the first time in a couple years recently. So I asked him what he's been up to, and he told me he's trying to become a weatherman. So I was like, oh, I never knew you wanted to do that. And he goes, neither did I. But after checking the weather app so much around girls, I started to realize that it was super interesting to me. This man literally figured out what he wants to do in life from this happening so much. I guess there are some perks to being scared of women. I'm just coping. Get ready with me to go to a funeral. So my grandma passed away last week, right? And don't get me wrong, I'm really sad. But she left us her house in her will. And I'm sure some of you will probably say, okay, cool, she gave you her house, but you should still be more sad than you are right now. And to that I say, shut up! My grandma would want me to be happy. Matter of fact, she always told me that I was her favorite grandson. Mostly because she had dementia and she forgot all her other grandkids. But still, another reason I'm so happy is I heard there's gonna be a chocolate fountain at the funeral. What? Are they gonna put a bounce house there too? Like you're telling me if you were at a funeral and they had a chocolate fountain and a bounce house, you would not be happy. Anyways, this is the final look. Nobody talks about how scary it was when the principal came to your classroom during school. Because I remember one time during class, all the students were talking. But the moment that door opened and we saw that it was the principal, the whole class immediately went silent. You would have thought she was a military leader with how scared she made everyone without even saying anything. She walked in and I was like, should I salute her or something? I don't know. But what was so funny about when the principal came to our class was our teacher would turn from the meanest person ever to the kindest. All of a sudden, someone would answer a question and the teacher would be like, good job, Anthony, you're so smart. Even though just 2 days ago, she told Anthony he's gonna be working at Walmart when he graduates. But what was really scary was when the principal would sit down next to you. Because she sat down next to me a couple times and she would be like, what are you working on? And my hand would be shaking and I'd be like, I don't know, I was watching LeBron highlights. Then 5 minutes later, she would just vanish. I don't think my heart rate has been that high since. Rich people spend money on the dumbest things. Because I know someone who got hired by this really rich guy to literally just follow him around all day and take notes on what he says. Because he wants to write a book with all of his tips on how to become wealthy. So my friend starts doing this job, but after a couple of days, he was already bored of the job and he was like, there's gotta be a more efficient way to do this. And that was when he realized he could just use this AI note taker instead of having to listen to what he says all day. All he had to do was press record, and when the guy would talk, it would listen to everything he said. And once he stopped recording, it turned everything he said into notes for him. So my friend literally got paid $300 a day just to follow this guy around and record what he says. The most funny part is, the rich guy could have just used this app himself to record what he said. It's called TurboLearn, by the way, if you want to use it. But he didn't even need to hire anyone. My friend definitely ain't complaining though. I was staring at a girl on the bus because she had a piece of gum in her hair. And right as I'm about to open my mouth to tell her, she says, excuse me, I have a boyfriend. So I was like, all right, you're gonna give me attitude, I'm gonna give you attitude back. So I was like, what does your boyfriend think of your hair? And she said, why do you care? As she was running her fingers through her hair. And then she felt the piece of gum and she started crying. And I felt bad at first, but then she accused me of putting the gum there. So I was like, all right, I'm going to mess with her. And I said, no, I didn't put the gum in your hair. Although I did see a homeless man earlier chewing on gum and he isn't anymore. And she started screaming. You may have done something stupid today, but it wasn't as stupid as what my friend did. My friend was throwing a surprise party for his girlfriend that he's been dating for 6 months. Remember that. And he invited a bunch of their friends over. But when she got there, everyone jumped out and yelled, surprise! But she was super confused. Why was she confused, you may ask? Well, you see, it turns out her birthday wasn't for another 3 months. How did my friend get her birthday that wrong, you may ask? Well, he never actually knew his girlfriend's birthday, but he thought he did. And it turns out that he mixed up his current girlfriend's birthday with his ex-girlfriend's birthday. And you know what the dumbest part was? He told her that. Why would you even admit that? Just don't talk. Don't say anything. There's nothing you can say that will make the situation better. But hey, I still had a free slice of cake, so it was a good day for me. The one thing you should never do during a school fire drill is use the bathroom. Because one time, I left class because I had to go number 2. Yes, I went number 2 in the school bathroom, okay? I had no choice. But anyways, the fire alarm goes off as I'm there. And if you've ever been in the bathroom when that alarm sounds, you know that it is loud in there. So I'm freaking out because the teacher never told us a fire drill was happening, so I didn't know if it was real. So I'm there trying to finish as quickly as possible just in case there's actually a fire and I need to get out. So I start wiping like there's no tomorrow. But the only problem is every school uses toilet paper thinner than a celebrity on Ozempic. So I'm wiping for like 10 minutes using the whole roll until finally it was good enough. So I quickly flush the toilet and run outside to see my whole classroom lined up. So I join them, but my teacher sees me and goes, Tyler, where were you? I just took attendance and you weren't there. Sorry, Mrs. Slater, I was busy fighting for my life. Maybe you should get some toilet paper that doesn't make me feel like Casper the Ghost is wiping me next time. Having the same teacher your older sibling had can either be the best thing ever or the worst thing ever. Because there was 2 times where I was in this situation at school, but they played out very differently. The first time this happened, my brother must have been the best student in that class, because on the very first day, the teacher is taking attendance, but then she says my name out loud, and she goes, wait, your last name is Vitelli? And I say yes. Then she says, are you Ryan's younger brother? So I say I am, and she was like, that is awesome. So I felt like a Nepo baby in that class because she treated me way better than everyone else. But the second time this happened, when the teacher saw my last name, she went, Vitelli? Is Ryan your older brother? Then I go, yeah, and I asked if she knew him, but then she said, how could I forget him? What could my brother possibly have done in that class to get that reaction? She looked at me like my brother was the reason for her divorce. So I knew I was cooked for that class. That teacher disliked me so much, I thought about changing my last name just so that would never happen.
Let's go!
Bronze Smart IPL. Enjoy 2 years free from hair and hair removal.
And this is your warning.